All right, so number 2, but I'm flipping the script on you a little bit because after I started looking at this, I realized there's several problems on here that I don't even want you to do. So what we're going to do with this handout, these, if you did not get this on yesterday, they're in the folders. And if your table doesn't have any, let Mr. Winters know, let the sub know, and the tables that do have some can kind of spread them around. So, but what we're going to do with this, since we just finished the other video, and I do want you to have a minute to kind of process and think about and do this on your own. I want you to do number 1 on here. Number 2. Scratch off number 3. Do not do this one. I want you to do number 4 and number 5, and do not do this one. Something about those golf problems just are not work. I think they're missing some information, to be perfectly honest with you, but they may not be. It may be just I don't understand golf. So I want you to do those 4 problems on your own right now. You can, if you can work together and not be a disruption and it not be a problem, you know, don't move around, but you know, if you can help each other if you need to. But I want you to work these, and then I will give you on Monday, you know, next week, I'll give you these. We'll go over these together, but I want you to have some time to think and process. So that you're going to do that on your own. You can pause the video to kind of get down what you need to do. But then, I'm sorry, my phone was ringing. I had to ignore it. Pause the video to get down what you need to do. But then once you get through, once you have this in your math folder or once you know what you're doing, I do want you to go to this handout. This one was in, I think, the yellow folder. We didn't get this one out of the folder the other day because I am going to take a minute and do these. I'm only going to do number 2 and number 3. Number 1 says use the following to cut in their correct location on the number line on the number line to the right. There ain't no number line. So mark out this one. There's no number line. We'll come back to something similar to that on something else that has a number line on it. But I do want to do number 2 and number 3 on here really quick with you. And then once I'm done with these, you can have the rest of the time to do these 4 problems. And we should be pretty close by that point to being dismissed. But if not, I'll leave something else for you to work on with the sub. So try not to say his name because maybe I want to use this video again sometime. But he knows who he is and I appreciate him. Now, circle the numbers. All right. So pause the video and then come back to me. I'm going to give you a few minutes. All right. Welcome back. Now, circle the numbers that make each statement true. So, right here, we've got to put a number right here that add it to 3 and make a 0. So, seriously, guys, let's just do it. So, we'll come right over here. And we're going to say, okay, -3 plus 3 equals 0. Put that, does it? -3 plus 3, does that equal 0? And if it does, and it does, -3 plus 3 equals 0. 3 plus 3 equals 0. No, it doesn't. 3 plus 3 equals 6. So it's A. A is, so -3 right here. These are, and this is why I wanted to do this because I want to hit some of this vocabulary with you. This is these are additive inverse. They're additive inverse. They're also a 0 pair. But additive inverse is the word you're going to see a lot when you're looking at problems like this. They're going to say what, and it, what number and its additive inverse, something, equals 0. They'll use additive inverse right there a lot. So just make sure you know that additive inverse is add to give you 0. So -3 plus 3 is equal to 0. All right, so now on part B. -2 plus blank is going to give you a negative number, okay? Put it in the calculator. So right here on A, -2 plus a -1. When you put that in the calculator, you're going to get a -3. So yes, you got a negative number when you put -1 right here. 2. So let's see if this one works. -2 plus 1. -2 plus 1 is going to give you a -1. So, yes, this one. Because if -2 plus 1 gives you a -1. -2 plus 3 is going to give you a +1. So this one does not give you a negative number. And I wanted you to see these questions because of the thinking that you're having to do. But it's really not hard thinking if you can just come over here. And I kind of wanted you to see more the test-taking strategy of coming over here and doing that substitution and actually working each one out. It really isn't that bad. But when you look at something like this, a lot of times it can overwhelm you when you're not sure how to think about it. All right? So blank -3 equals a negative number. Well, come over here and put 2 minus 3 in your calculator. When you put that in the calculator, you're going to get a -1. So that does give you a negative number. -2 minus 3 is going to give you a -5. So you do get a negative number. 4 minus 3 is going to give you a +1. So again, that one doesn't work. All right. So like I said, that is what I wanted you to see how to think about a problem like that. The problem itself, working it, is really not that bad. But I wanted you to see the thinking involved and how to think about it. Because sometimes you get a little overwhelmed with the way it looks and you don't realize that how to think about it, and the thinking's really not that bad. Okay, number 3. I'm gonna change colors. I have time. What is the distance between a submarine? Whoa, back up. Distance. I've already told you, distance means change. Therefore, distance change means we're gonna have a minus. We already know that. Between a submarine submerged at a depth of 27 3/4 feet. Submerged means it's just underwater. It's submerged underwater. 27 3/4 feet below sea level. If it's 27 3/4 feet below sea level, that's going to be a -27 3/4 feet. And an airplane flying at an altitude is up in the air, of 1,262.5 feet above sea level. So we've got a positive 1,262 feet and 2.5 feet above sea level. And we want to know the change in those. What is the distance between them? Well, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Writing it like that from the problem is going to mess you up. And it's going to mess, it's going, not really. But I do think it would help you to see a visual of what it looks like in a picture. I just want you to get a visual of what you got here. So here we are. We got 0. This is sea level. Sea level is 0. Okay? So we've got a submarine that's all the way down here at 27 3/4 feet down below. And I don't have enough room. This is going to look really weird. But our airplane is flying up here at 1,262.5 feet above sea level. And what this question is asking you is, how far is it from here to here? What is the distance? Okay? So, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay? Put this in the calculator. Negative. All right, now watch me put this in the calculator because this is those with the fraction, so I'll make sure you know how to do that. Negative. We're going to hit the second button and the N over D button so that we get a mixed number blinking right there. 27. Arrow over and 3/4. Arrow over minus. Do your second N over D button again. 1,262. Arrow over to the right. 1. Arrow down. Half. Arrow over. Enter. Remember I told you that was going to mess you up, didn't I? Because we're talking about distance, aren't we? So now let's look at our picture. Let's look at our picture and see what we get. Let's look right here. From 1,262.5 to 0. So we got 1,262. I'm going to use 0.5 just because it's easy for a minute. From here to here, this distance is 1,262.5 step. I mean, that's, and then we've got from here to here is 27 3/4. So plus 27.75. Now, a while ago, we got negative 1290.25. And the reason I knew, when I looked at, you're writing this straight from the problem, is going to mess you up because change and distance will never be negative. Distance is like, it's absolute value. It's never going to be negative. So, looking at the distance right here, you can see that it's 1,290 and 1/4 or 2.25. The way this should have been written, the 1,262 should have been in the front minus a negative 27 3/4. When you put this in the calculator, it's going to equal that positive 1,290 and 1/4. This is going to give you a negative number, and this is going to give you a negative number, and distance can't be negative. And I wanted you to see this problem because of the way it is written and the fact that you are going to be prone to put this number first and this number second. And again, look at that. Came straight off the DOE website. So this is the kind of problems that they're going to throw at you. And the reason they're going to throw these problems at you is because they are trying to assess whether or not you understand that the word distance is absolute value and absolute value can't be a negative. It's not going to be negative. The way that, and I'm going to be honest with you, the way I check myself on stuff like that is I'll draw me a little picture like this. If we're talking about distance, we're just talking about from here to here and then from here to here. So, you know, sketch you out a picture, check yourself so that you can make sure that distance is always going to be absolute value. It's never going to be negative. Therefore, it had to be written this way to keep us from getting that negative number. And again, we're going to be going back through problems like this for the next 2 weeks before we get to your summative so that you can see, you know, so you'll get lots of practice. But I wanted you to go ahead and see that and kind of put it out there for you. All right, guys. Hope you all have a great weekend. And I love you. Be safe. See you Monday.